Hi, I'm Dan Berg. Join us as we explore the fascinating shipwrecks of the Northeast by diving Wreck Valley. Got it? Welcome to Dive Wreck Valley. Today we're going to be diving with treasure hunters Mike Mcmeekin and Gary Storm. We're going to be trying out the brand new underwater technology of the Minelab Excalibur underwater metal detector. And we're going to be searching for lost gold and jewelry. So stay with us. Dive Wreck Valley will be right back. Our first dive will be to the wreck of the Western World off New Jersey. We'll be diving off Captain Steve Negowitz's charter dive boat, the Diversion. Our object today is to test the new advanced technology of Minelab's Excalibur metal detector. We thought it would be best to test and evaluate the unit not just on scuba and salt water, but under a variety of conditions. So after our open ocean wreck dive, we'll travel to an upstate lake. We'll then try the machine while wading, beach hunting, and land hunting. Dive Wreck Valley's Mike Mcmeekin, one of the top treasure hunters on the East Coast, will be testing the unit in each environment. Before we go offshore, let's now visit with treasure hunter Gary Storm. Gary's a well-known treasure hunter and recognized expert at metal detecting. Gary's been featured in several treasure-related magazines and is the owner of Hudson River Metal Detectors and Scuba Sales. Gary, is this the new machine you were telling me about?
Yes, it is. It's the Minelab Excalibur underwater metal detector.
And what is so good about this machine compared to my other machines?
Well, it's a new innovative technology called BBS, broadband spectrum, and what that stands for is it operates on 17 frequencies at the same time. To a novice, just to give you an example, you've used other underwater detectors.
Yeah, I play with it though.
Right, and each underwater detector or land unit operates on one or two frequencies, with most being one. And what one frequency units do is they're geared at different frequencies for different conditions. One will be good and hot on gold, one will be hot on lower conductive like relics, one will work better in salt water, and one will work better on land. This being 17 works well in all conditions.
Fantastic.
And to give you an easy example is a saltwater beach. If you ever hunt it, you dry sand is fairly easy.
Yeah,
Hit the wet
all
sand,
machines work good on
most
dry
detectors
sand.
break down, even the most expensive ones. And where the BBS, you go from the dry into the wet sand into the surf, and even have salt water lapping the coil, and it won't give you false signals. And it'll go incredibly deep.
Fantastic. What are the other main features of the machine? What can I look forward to using as far as being a diver using it?
Well, as a diver, one of the important things, especially a northeast diver, is the volume control. This volume controls the volume of the target it picks up. When you turn this machine on...
Oh, it's not the threshold volume.
No,
so that's new. That's not on any other machine.
No, you turn the machine on, you set a slate home, and then you set this, you play with it until you get it comfortable, whatever depth you're working at. If you're down 30 feet, every diver knows what a quarter-inch hood or a dry suit hood and bubbles, it's hard to hear detectors.
Sure.
Where you can set this up and just run an object across until you get it comfortable.
Fantastic.
This machine has audio ID, which means it gives you a different sound for different target.
Oh, like the original Sovereign.
Like the original
Sovereign is the land predecessor to this machine.
It's the best discriminator, and what it'll do is you turn it on, you set your threshold, and you flip just to discriminate, and your iron's automatically going to be gone. And what's going to happen, the machine's going to null out as you go over iron. And then anything else, what I do in the water is I run the discriminate at 0, and I listen to my sounds. And I go by that. And to give you an example, turn it on, set the threshold. I got my volume up so we can hear it. And I'll take a couple targets. Okay. Here's a very small ring. Here's a lower tone.
Gold ring is gold is a low tone, right?
Well, a small gold.
Okay.
Then we'll take a larger ring. Hear how it's different?
Yeah.
And then we'll go to the highest pitch, we'll take a coin.
Oh, fantastic.
So after a while, you get an ear for it.
Yeah.
And you can tell, you know, by the sound, if you, especially you're in an area where there's not a lot of, like, trash, I always like that, what I call lower tone. I call it a foil signal. When I get that, it's usually a small piece of gold.
Or a flip top, right?
Right, and see what happens with some of your other technology. You know, your pulse units were very good in salt water, went incredibly deep, but they had trouble with, you know, they always picked up iron, they had trouble with smaller gold. Your VLF units wouldn't go as deep as the pulse, but they could discriminate some of the iron out. They still pick up some, but they could discriminate some out. Where this is the best discriminator, the iron's gone, and you're still getting that smaller gold and going the depth of the pulse again.
Fantastic.
Another feature I like is the coil. It's called a double D coil. And what a double D coil does, it sends, if you can hold it a second,
sure.
It sends your signal down in a straight underneath the whole coil. So when you're scanning,
the entire depth.
Right, this is an 8-inch span, and you're covering 8-inch scan like this, where all your other basic coils are concentric.
Conical shape, sure.
And they send a signal down in a pointy shape, so at your depth range, you're hunting like with...
You're only hunting with a 1-inch diameter search pattern.
Definitely.
So you're gonna hunt now with an 8-inch.
Right, you're covering more area, and you're getting about 3-4 times the coverage. Another selling feature is the battery pack. It comes with rechargeables. Highly recommend you just use the rechargeables. Your battery life is 12 to 15 hours.
15 hours?
Right.
Oh, that's long enough for a couple
And it does
dives.
retain a memory, so if you go out for 4 or 5 hours, come home, put it on a charger, go out again. And I find that to be true because that's how I hunt. I hunt, 5-6 hours on a Monday, and then I go away a weekend where I'm hunting constantly.
Right.
And I've taken it down to 14 hours, then I didn't take any more chances because I'm diving. I didn't want to be away from the thing. If I am, a lot of times I've even carried a battery pack in my flag. If you hold it again, it's so easy to change. The good hunters are buying the extra packs. This just unscrews.
Oh, sure.
You switch on a new pack, and you're all set to go. If you don't buy that, you can just unscrew these and pull the battery out and just buy a battery or real batteries and change it also. The other thing you can do too, it's also the thing you can't forget, it's an excellent land unit. It converts, you take the rods and insert those in here, and now you can wade or hunt the surf or go right up into the park or an old homestead.
I have probably 4 machines, a motion detector, pulse detector. I have the land version, the MineLab Sovereign. I mean, is this truly, I only need 1 machine now? Is that what you're telling me?
Definitely, it's all you need. Because that's where your discriminator comes in. In the water, I run at 0. Yeah. But on land, where you get a lot of trash, you have to have a discriminator to knock out, like pull tabs, foil, things like that.
But this will do everything that the Sovereign does on land?
It's the same thing as a Sovereign.
Oh,
and underwater housing.
I'm going to look forward to using this. Gary, I know you've been around forever. I've seen you on the cover of magazines and whatnot, and you've got a great gold and artifact collection. I'm a novice. I like playing with this stuff. I love finding gold. Can I talk you into coming out on a dive and show me how to use this?
Seeing is believing.
Let's do it. Fantastic.
Before we descend, let's ask Captain Steve about the history of the Western world.
What type of artifacts on this wreck, Steve?
Carrying general cargo, an old, I guess you'd call it a packet sailing ship. Had 300 passengers, so you get a lot of the personal effects, as well as a lot of general cargo. Spurs for boots, flatware, silverware. You see a lot of china embedded in the wreck.
So we're down like 1850s or so?
1853. It actually was wrecked in a place called Wreck Pond in Spring Lake, and for years it had been called the Spring Lake Sailor until the divers recovered some artifacts that identified her as the Western world.
Next to this old bathhouse. I pull up to a park that goes back to I got a book later on. I camped there. Put my boat in.
The wreck's in two distinct sections, and when you dive on her, it almost looks like solid rock or petrified wood. You can hardly tell it's an old shipwreck.
Oh, really?
When you dive on the clump, you'll see where some of the grain of the wood would have been. It's probably old decking that the seas have eroded and kind of like made into a conglomerate of just rock and wood and artifacts. You actually see pieces of dishes, full dishes, bowls, cups, all embedded in the wreck, and it's virtually impossible to get them out unless you use a hammer and chisel. But a lot of the wreck is still buried, maybe 3, 4, 5, 10 feet in the sand. So there's still a lot of opportunity for divers to find things.
Before long, the diversion is anchored over the wreck and it's time to jump in. The Excaliburs are handed in and Mike and Gary quickly descend to start their search. Today, the remains of the Western world resemble nothing more than a conglomerate on an otherwise barren sandy seabed. Spider crabs make their home around this shallow water wreck, as do starfish, thriving on the ever-present bed of mussels. At times, divers can even find soft corals on the site, In the sand near the wreck's edge, a group of scavenging crabs feast on the carcass of a recently killed skate. Crabs serve an important cleaning function to these shallow water habitats. Gary immediately starts to search the sand for artifacts. Not only does MineLab's superior circuitry allow the machine to penetrate deeper into the sand than its competition, the Excalibur has several unique features that make the machine perfect for use while on scuba. First, the Excalibur's volume control is separate from the threshold. This means that while underwater, we can crank up the target volume so we can easily hear signals over all that exhaust bubble noise. Unlike other detectors which operate at just one frequency, the Excalibur actually transmits 17 separate frequencies. The resulting signal received from a buried target is then processed by a microprocessor, which removes interference caused by ground mineralization. The remaining signal is then analyzed to determine the actual target composition. The other feature unique to this machine is its ability to discriminate or mask all iron. This comes in very handy when searching in areas with lots of nails or around iron wrecks. Battery life is another main feature. It's not uncommon for shallow water hunters to put in 3 to 6 hours of hunting in on any given day. The Excalibur's 10 to 15 hour rechargeable nightcat battery more than fulfills most hunters' requirements. Within only a few minutes, Gary hits a signal and digs the target. He's found a beautiful old doorknob. Mike Mcmeekin, who's searching the other side of the wreck, has also hit a target. Mike fans away the sand to recover a beautiful old belt buckle. Divers know that this wreck does not give up its artifacts too easily. The mine labs have already more than proved their worth. Before long, Gary hits another signal. Digging in the soft sand surrounding the wreck, he recovers a small piece of brass. Meanwhile, Mike is busy finding and digging targets. Mike knows that he's already found a nice artifact in this area, so he slows down and continues to carefully scan the bottom. The first signal he digs turns out to be a beautiful brass button. Then, only a few feet away, he hits another signal. This signal turns out to be a lead musket ball. Our bottom time is now slowly ticking away, and it's now time to ascend. Stay tuned. When Dive Wreck Valley returns, we'll be exploring an upstate lake in search of silver and gold.
Before we get back to the show, I want to introduce you to a new product called the Dive Kayak. It's put out by Ocean Kayaks in Washington. This neat little one-person dive recreational vehicle is ruggedly constructed, easy to maneuver, very stable in the water, and also incorporates some very unique features, like a self-bailing feature, and also a tank rack, and some very nice storage for other dive equipment. For additional information on this, as well as other kayaks, contact Ocean Kayak Direct at 1-800-8-KAYAKS. Now let's get back to the show.
Gary Storm has brought us to one of his upstate artifact sites. The shores of this lake once housed not only a hotel, but a casino as well. Hunting in the clear waters of a lake will be a new experience for us. Since the casino was on shore, we'll want to search the shallow bottom, which ranges from about a foot to about 10 feet of water. Gary tells us that it's impossible to hunt here with conventional detectors because of the abundance of iron nails. With the Excalibur, however, the artifacts are abundant. Our object is to find old silver coins and any lost jewelry. Gary begins to hunt and quickly finds his first target, a beautiful silver coin. Mike's first target sounds off with a lower tone than the coin would give. The silt is fanned away to reveal a beautiful 14-karat gold ring. Gary had told us that because of the hotel, this area had been heavily used by swimmers. Most popular swim sites will produce jewelry. Gary's next signal turns out to be only junk. Most water hunters choose not to discriminate. They know, for example, that they could discriminate out flip tops, but this would also give up some small gold rings. So most water hunters dig all signals. You should also remove all the trash dug up. This cleans the site while preventing you from digging the same signal twice. Mike's next target is an old brass screw. Gary continues to scan the bottom. This signal turns out to be a magnificent 14-karat gold chain. The rocky bottom here has kept most signals shallow, But even if these objects were buried under inches of sand, the Excalibur's powerful signal would find them easily. Only 30 feet away, Mike is carefully scanning the bottom with the Excalibur's 8-inch double D coil. When a target is found, he quickly fans the silt away until the signal is sighted. Mike has just located a fancy gold wedding band, his second piece of gold of the day. Meanwhile, Gary is also keeping busy. It seems that the signals here are every few feet apart. This target turns out to be a walking Liberty $50. Only a few yards away, Mike's machine is sounded off with a high-pitched response that usually means a coin beneath the coil. For some reason, many times, targets seem to be grouped together. It's therefore always important to carefully check the surrounding area, even after the first target is recovered. By staying in the same hole, his machine sounds off on another target. It's another silver coin. By the time Mike's finished, he's retrieved 4 beautiful silver coins. Silver coins found in freshwater are usually in much better condition than the same vintage coin found in the saltwater environment. These coins will clean up to be in near perfect condition. The rest of the day is spent digging coins, gold, and of course a few more pieces of junk. These shallow water sites permit divers extended bottom times, sometimes exceeding 3 hours. When we're finished, we may be a little tired, but we're absolutely hooked on the benefits of MyLab's Excalibur. Stay tuned. When Dive Wreck Valley returns, we'll be testing the Excalibur on land and on the beach. Although Mike's true love and expertise is water hunting, a quick test of the MyLab in a local park demonstrates how productive it would be on a land relic site. In this area, Mike decides to discriminate out flip tops. By doing so, he quickly homes in on any coins lost in the area. We also took the MyLab to a local beach. Mike suited up in his dry suit and equipped with a special long-handled scoop and a floating tire screen, found the MyLab to work flawlessly. Anyone who's ever hunted with a metal detector knows that most machines are good for only one environment. Some are then mediocre in other environments. MyLab's multi-frequency combined with its double D coil will certainly make many multi-machine hunters consolidate their equipment. As a last test, we took the Excalibur up onto the beach. It's here, when going from dry to wet sand and then into the salt water, that many machines have problems. Within only half an hour, Mike has dug up several targets. The machine, as expected, has worked flawlessly.
Have you found anything good so far?
First signal was a silver part of a love medallion. You know, like the boyfriend would get one half and the girl would get the other half. And it was split in silver. And then a copper screw. Okay. And the third signal was a walking Liberty half.
A walking? Can I see it?
Yeah.
How old is that?
From the 40s, which will probably date the site. Oh, sorry, it's a Ben Franklin hat. 1958.
Putting it here for a second.
Our overall test has concluded that the MyLab's BBS broadband spectrum technology, coupled with its double D coil, extended battery life, and volume control, have made a near-perfect water hunting machine. In fact, the only complaint we received was from arm fatigue, caused by digging too many targets. For additional information on MyLab's Excalibur metal detector, contact MyLab direct at 1-800-995-1936.
All right, Mike, I know that you have a pulse detector. What other kind of machines do you have?
I have a Sovereign, which is the land version of this same machine.
Okay.
Which is was the land detector before they came out with the Excalibur, which is the waterproof version of the same machine. Because it goes so deep, you know, It was the best land machine available at the time. But this gives you the advantage of being able to hunt the land, hunt the water, hunt the beach, hunt with scuba gear, all in one machine. So it eliminates having to carry 4 or 5 different detectors for every purpose. Yeah. There were machines that were better in freshwater, better in salt water. Now you can, have one machine that does it all.
And does this one truly do it all?
I would say, I don't think anything's going to come near as doing it all as this one can. It's an amazing machine. Most machines, you can work the sand. You start getting into the wet sand and near the edge of the salt water, the machine starts to go haywire. This machine, you walk from dry sand to wet sand and shove it into the water, walk out it, there's no change in sound. It doesn't get erratic like most machines do. Amazing. Very, very stable. Makes it a pleasure to hunt.
For further information on the shipwrecks off New York and New Jersey, pick up a copy of Dan Berg's Wreck Valley Volume 2 book at your local dive store. Or to learn about the skills of wreck diving, try Dan's how-to book titled Shipwreck Diving. To order a VHS copy of the Dive Wreck Valley show or a free color book catalog, call Aqua Explorers Inc. at 516-868-2658. Dan Berg's Dive Wreck Valley is sponsored by DUI Dry Suits, OMS Scuba Equipment, SSI Scuba Schools International, Subsalve USA Lift Bags, Ocean Kayak, Underwater USA, America's first newspaper for divers, Beneath the Sea, one of the largest expositions in North America, Boston Sea Rovers, Hudson River Metal Detectors and Scuba Sales, Treasures Unlimited Metal Detectors in East Patchogue, Seahorse Dive Shop in Queens, Scuba Depot in Mineola, Underwater Swimmers in West Haven, Connecticut, Danny's Dive Shop in Baldwin, Kings County Divers of Brooklyn, the Dive Boat Southern Cross, and the Charter Boat Rebel. I hope you've enjoyed the show and will join us again as we continue to explore the fascinating shipwrecks of the Northeast by diving in an area known as Wreck Valley.
Dan Berg's Dive Wreck Valley is produced in association with Crystal Productions.